Hey, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. It's 6:55 a.m. March 30th, and price of Bitcoin currently at 63.77 on BitMEX. Okay, so I wanted to pull up the daily chart right here just to show you guys exactly where we are. So I know uh, the movement overnight looks pretty aggressive, but I wanted to explain to you on daily perspective exactly where we are. Okay. Excuse me. So if we look on the daily perspective, remember that this $6,400 marker is something that we've been paying attention to for a little while, especially in the advantage side. I've let my community members know that this is the key marker that we want to flip as resistance. And as soon as this thing turns resistance right here today, tomorrow, in my opinion, I think this will be probably one of the better shorting opportunities that you may get. Okay. With that being said, unfortunately, the shorting opportunity will be a little bit tough because if you do short here, your next stop available is at the very least above any of these wicks right here. And that's if you're looking at it from a daily time frame. Okay. Now, if we start dialing down a little bit, okay, so let's go to this chart right here. Oops. Excuse me. Let's go to this chart right here. Okay, and let's go to 4 hour. So if we start dialing down a little bit, there's a key marker that I was looking at, 62.33. Remember, a few days ago, we actually took a short trade up here in the advantage side right here, took some profit here, took some profit here. All that is available right here. Okay, we took some profit at 58.62. As you can see, that was the key area where we were looking at for the past several days. So we cut quarter position there, quarter position around 62.35. So we did our job of cutting half our position. So we're already sitting in profit. Okay, so now the remainder of our position right now sits with a break-even stop right up here. Okay, and the question is, are we going to make it up all the way up here? In my opinion, I doubt it. If we make it up, I think it might be like a scam wake like this, but then it comes back down. Because remember, the key area, even on a 4 hour time frame, is that 6410 area. Remember, that was this, pretty much this base right here around this area, 6400s, not really 6410 exactly. So all we're doing is you can look at it like this on a 4 hour time frame. Okay, so this was all previous resistance right there, support, 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 smash through, now resistance. Okay, so that's a 4 hour time frame. And on the daily, same thing, right? We're looking at it like this. Okay, going across the board, we're seeing support from December 2019, resistance right there around 20th March, support right there once we broke up above it, but then smashed through, and now resistance. Okay, this is how we look at markets when we're looking at key areas that are being hit. It's not just it's not necessary or important to just look at price in terms of the context of the movement. When you see something go up, think about why it went up, why it stopped at a specific level, and why it's not going further. Okay, or why it could be going further. Start making those plans out for yourself. Okay, so in our community, obviously, as I just showed you, we took some profit at 62.35, took some profit at 58.62. So you're probably wondering, well, why didn't you just take all the profit at 58.62? Right? That's not the point. Okay, understanding exactly where key SR levels sit, that's where you want to take profit. Okay, so when you're shorting, right, you want to take profit near support, key support areas. When you're longing, you want to take profit near resistance, like those, right? So on the way up, okay, this is the key resistance area. So if you are long, I would probably say it's best to start booking profit right now. Okay, chances are, it could just kind of go up like this and start heading back down either today, tomorrow, the day after. Okay, that's kind of what I'm banking on, and that's why I still have half my position open with my stop at break even. Okay, again, these are trades that we provide in real time in the advantage side, and you can go to cryptosomniac.com and head to the products page right here, and you can buy the membership right there. Okay, remember that we are opening up our oil, options, and FX channels starting April 1st. So that's in about a day or two, actually. So we're really pumped to get these channels started. Prices are probably going to go up for new members starting, middle of April or May. So it's best you get grandfathered in. If you do sign up now, you will not have to pay a higher price for our entire Advantage membership. Okay, so do come join. All right. Obviously, with joining, you get trade setups like this where they can yield you, some pretty good gains right here, like 10.1% profit, because we got in at 66.25, got out at 58.62. That's a good $800 move, folks. Right? I mean, even if you had a small size position in an $800 move, pretty sure that's enough to pay our membership right there. So with that being said, where exactly are we, right? So we just, by the way, closed another 4-hour candle. All right, so let's go to the 4-hour candles and see how they look. Okay, so one of our members said that, hey, this could be, or rather he asked, could this be a three white soldiers kind of pattern? No, not really. Okay, and let me explain to you why it's not three white soldiers. Three white soldiers are supposed to be bigger candle sizes and volume increasing on the way up. Okay, well, guess what happened here? Smaller candle size, larger candle size, smaller candle size, and smaller volume. So this third candle did not fulfill the requirements of a three white soldier pattern. Okay, remember, three white soldier patterns are reversal patterns that come out after a downtrend like this. So even though it was a perfect time to set up that three white soldiers pattern, remember the reason why we're stalling and stopping here is due to the fact that we are smashing into that daily resistance level of 64.10 right there. Okay, so it makes sense that the three white soldiers pattern is essentially thwarted right there. Okay, so let's get back to it, right? So now that we're in this particular area, right, like I've said, you have a couple of options. Okay, you can potentially short here, or you can wait for the break to the upside around 4-hour closing above 64.10 or maybe 6,500 to be safe, and then start longing. Because if we do start closing above that, chances are we're going to target these areas right here around 6.7, 6.8. Okay, and I will obviously inform my Advantage community appropriately of how we can react towards that price too. Okay, but again, if you want live analysis, you want evening analysis session just like the one we're having right now to show you guys what's happening by the end of the day, just like you're finding out at the beginning of the day, and then multiple updates through the day just like this. This is where you can join Advantage, folks. You can take it, take a look at our community, see the kind of content that we put out, and you can see the gains reviews right here. People have been really just enjoying and kicking ass in the market, and I'm really proud of all my members, because they truly are people who are learning how to manage their risk, how to even take winners and losers in stride. Because remember that ultimately you will have losers. How you deal with those losers and how you react to them, just like anything in life, is how you set yourself up for your next future winners. Okay, so you can see all these gains reviews right here, and people truly are seeing the benefit of our Advantage membership right here. All right, we did open a new weekly candle, so let's check out the weekly. All right, so again, weekly smashing into 6400s. Okay, not a whole lot going on right here. Okay, we did just start the weekly, so remember, anything can happen in the weekly. All right, so one thing that we need to be aware of is, where exactly are the global markets? Well, I put this up on my Twitter recently. I stated that, as you can see right here, Bitcoin price correlation to the S&P 500 has recently reached a new record high as per BitMEX research. 0.5 is the correlation that we're seeing right now. Remember that a strong positive correlation, meaning that the assets completely, are moving together. Okay, that is about 0.8 to 1.0. For now, 0.5 is, sometimes they'll move together, sometimes they're not. It's not necessary that you can effectively say that if S&P 500 goes up, Bitcoin has to go up. It doesn't have to. The 0.5 correlation does not warrant that. Okay, if it was 1.0, then I would definitely say that they move together. So in this particular instance, we can say that, all right, well, it's a good enough correlation, but it's not that great. Nothing that we can rely upon. Okay. Number two, okay, I put up another post. Our friend Joe over here put this up. This was about mortgage bankers warning the Fed mortgage purchases. Essentially what's happening, folks. I think unless you're living under a rock, you know exactly what's happening in the U.S. government around the world. Markets themselves are really freaking out. Okay, what they're effectively saying is, hey, you cannot be on this path of just printing money, injecting money into the market, and never looking back and saying that this is not going to have a longer term negative impact. Okay, whether you're a supporter of the current administration or not, if you know anything about economics, this is not the way you go about solving crises. Now, obviously, it's an unprecedented situation that we're facing. However, we had already been screwing ourselves over for the last 1 to 2 years by lowering interest rates, by injecting the economy with more and more money. Okay. Now, in this particular instance, right, what the mortgage bankers are essentially saying is, if you keep going on the path that you're going, right, there's just not going to be enough liquidity. There's going to be, forcing of more margin calls. Meaning, remember, margin calls are essentially people in the market who are invested in different assets, right? So, for example, let's just say Bitcoin and the Bitcoin and the stock market, and then the gold markets, etc. Right? So, if an institution is invested in multiple markets, okay, and their client calls them up and says, hey, I need to get in cash, get me on cash right now, okay? So what is the job of the institution or the hedge fund to do? Well, they're going to sell, right? And what are they going to sell? They're going to sell the first thing that is the most liquid. More than likely, that's probably going to be gold. More than likely, if they're in the futures markets, that's going to be futures, because those are the most liquid markets, right? And then what happens? Okay, what they're really trying to do is they're trying to sell gold or FX to cover their margin calls, whether it's in the debt markets. Remember, institutions can buy debt as well, right? Or it could be in the equities markets right here, like the S&P 500. And so when they get margin call, they sell other assets like gold, and then they'll have to cover some of their margin called positions in the equities markets or other markets. And this way, they can generate enough money to keep their other positions open in their other markets. That's what's called a margin call. Okay. Now, the reason you don't want to deal with something like that is because that is essentially saying that, hey, we're facing a liquidity issue. You need to back up some of your funds in the best way possible that you can. And if you cannot, we're going to close out your position in this particular market. So margin call is essentially saying that, give me collateral, more collateral to keep your multi-million, multi-billion dollar position open in this other market. And if you can't come up with that, that means we'll close out your other position. Okay. So these institutions and hedge funds, they will go sell gold, they'll sell Forex positions, or they could sell equities positions to hold their gold position, vice versa. It doesn't matter. Okay. But the point is, in this particular instance, okay, excuse me, what's really happening is, bankers across the world, especially across America, are really starting to see the kind of shitstorm that we're headed towards. Okay. And they're sounding the alarms while the government is really calm and they're not really doing anything about it. Okay. All they're really doing is, this is open-ended QE. We'll do whatever it takes to keep the markets, going. They are doing whatever it takes to sacrifice, the longer-term picture, bankrupting our future generations, and maybe, putting the future generations or the future years in a bind just for, temporary success. And I mean temporary in the literal sense. This is not going to last that long. Sooner or later, it's going to start, coming crashing down. Okay. So whether it's, 1 year from now, today itself, next week, at some point, this is what it takes. That's how free markets work. You can't just start building up debt. You can't just, be in a tough economical situation with declining GDP and start printing money and just say that it's just going to be okay. That's just not how it works. Okay. So point is, just take this as a sign of, hey, major companies, major banks are sounding the alarms. It's time to start being careful, folks. It's time to start being careful. Start looking at your savings, start looking at your jobs, start looking at, your positions in the markets. Again, not financial advice, just research for you to do and reconsider, what exactly is happening in the market. Start doing your own research, okay? So as I've stated before, in the Advantage side, I've let my community members know in the middle of February, I closed out all my long-term BTC positions right there with the timestamp. I also closed out all my equities positions at the beginning of March. I don't have a timestamp for that. I have to go find my posts. But I can tell you for certain, I didn't really have any positions open. Right now, the only thing that I have open is put options for the equity markets. And I've let my community members know exactly where, what dates I'm looking at and what strikes I'm looking at for those put options, okay? So anyway, folks, as we look at the global market, slight sell-off across the board in Asia and slight selling in Europe as well. Nothing too drastic, I guess. And so maybe, we might be able to see the futures markets as well as the stock market open a little bit positive today. In my opinion, at some point, we should, if we're going to press up even a little bit higher, let's just say the 618 fib, we should at least kind of go like this and start pushing back up. Or over here, we might just start chopping around, and then over maybe the next few months or so, then we'll start breaking down, okay? That's personally the way I'm looking at this market. I think this is going to be an accelerated time of selling because remember, we're in a very tight financial crunch. Everybody across the board is already tight on money. And if they're already tight on money, they need to get cash raised as soon as possible in whatever way possible. So whether they sell, stocks, whether they sell gold or whether they sell Bitcoin. And in my opinion, I think Bitcoin, as I've said before, will be the first one to get sold if there is supposed to be, selling in the market starting to happen. All right. All right, folks, that's it. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Again, come join Cryptosomniac products page right there and then Advantage membership. You will get all this analysis, this trading community, this chat, the education section down here, live equities updates with your membership. We don't have tiers or anything, okay? When you buy the membership, you get everything, all right? So even if you buy the membership now, you will be grandfathered in for these new channels that are opening up, okay? But yeah, that's it. Hope you guys enjoy the content. Take care. Be careful in this market. Cheers.